There it goes. Maybe. Yeah, there you are. Tag it. All right, this has been a long time coming.
It
So
has been. It's a pleasure to be here.
it's a pleasure to be in this space with you. All right, we got that one's going. Let me get the other one. Um, okay, we're good. We're good. All right. So this is our first show of the day. This is a very special show. It's been a long time coming because this beautiful lady and I have been friends. One of the longest friendships I have, I think from like 2013 or 14. So I've seen you out there for a long time. Let me just say to everybody, thank you for your continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this every day. Because otherwise we couldn't. So I'm really grateful for that. And I just want to let everybody know that we got a whole bunch of shows lined up through the weekend. I think about 12 or 13. And this is going to be a special one. Muriel Blanc is in the house. She has been in service for as long as I've known her. We've never had an extended conversation or message too lengthy back and forth over the years, but it's been a long, long time. So I just want to welcome you to SoulogySpeaks. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence.
Well, it's truly a pleasure to be here. And truly, time flies when you're having fun. It feels like yesterday I was following you on your post and amazed by what you have gone through and where you are at now and your journey. A true inspiration and a true honor to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. The first thing I have to ask you is, I mean, some people you see out there and they're very consistent. The energy is very constant. Uh, and you seem to be like that. You seem to be doing a lot of different things. I know you're in service, but I would like to know, um, did you have a wake up experience or have you always been this weird?
I was born awake. I have been this weird, this out there, this, in service for 51 years. So I am 59 and a half. I will be 60 in February.
Wow.
And I discovered that I had the gift of healing on myself when I was 8. And
Wow.
so it has been quite of a journey. And is it okay if I share, or is it okay
What's,
if I share a little bit of my experience?
yes, that's what we're here for. Yeah. So you're eight
Oh,
years old and you discovered that you can heal by learning to heal yourself. And that's why it's been 51
51
years.
years. So first of all, from the time I was a baby to the time I was 4 or 5, I had divine intervention multiple times. And I also could see and talk to spirit, and good or bad, I could do that. And then when I was 8, I went to a public swimming pool in France. I'm from France. And I swam with that goggles on my eyes. And there is a bacteria that was in the pool. And this bacteria attacked both of my eyes at the
Wow.
same time. And my eyes were shooting blood, both of them.
Wow.
And the ophthalmologist in France announced to my parents, grandparents, and myself that enjoy for the next 6 weeks because you won't be able to see them. Okay? There was nothing that was working. The antibiotics were not working. I had 6 different types. I could not shower. I could not be in the sunlight. So when you are 8, it's a very, very traumatic experience to go through that. And so my grandmother was like, "Oh, you can take my eyes, and we don't do that even nowadays, retinas and stuff like that." So I was determined that I would not have that fate. And so I started to hear, you need to be in meditation. And I was like, what is that? And so I heard you need to pray. Okay. So I went and started to pray. And I was literally completely in silence and praying, healing. And then within 6 weeks, my eyes returned to normal. And I discovered I had the gift of healing because I started with my own self. So
Wow. So
that was an experience.
you said you heard to meditate. You didn't even know what that was. You're 8 years old at the time, right? And then
Yes,
you heard to pray. Do
yes.
you what voice of the universe, what face of the universe do you think that was? Was that source directly, God, the mother goddess, or
So to me, I have had angelic intervention since I was a child, and whether people want to believe that or not is irrelevant. But when I was 4, I ran away from my grandmother who was watching me, and I was very tiny, and a car was passing by. And my grandmother realized she could not catch me. And so she dropped on her knee and prayed. And she prayed that someone will come and save me and pull me away from the car. And out of thin air, somebody appeared, all dressed in white, which was Archangel Michael,
wow.
and he pulled me away from the car and had me sitting next to him, and that I do remember. And then he said to my grandmother when she finally catch up, "You're not taking care of her, so we're going to be keeping an eye of her." And since that, I have had intervention after intervention in difficult situation where source angels intervene. And I am here to be a testimony of faith with a capital F, and to be connected to the divine, because those experiences were not made up. They were not hallucination. They truly happened.
Yeah, I believe you. And I believe a lot of the people listening will believe you because we've had the same type of experience. Although we didn't, I can recall having experiences when I was a child, a few times, but I didn't see anything with my eyes. I might have seen things in dreams or felt a presence, but I can remember, like a couple of times, like being on my bicycle, and I was probably like 6 years old, and I came from out behind a car, and a car was coming to hit me, and I could feel something pick me up and move me, right? But yeah, I think a lot of people here are accepting this part of our experience in reality. And so it's really interesting to hear your story because it started so young. And so in this situation with the getting almost getting hit and Archangel Michael coming in, did your grandmother get any sense of what was happening with you? Did she
She knew because she was very religious, and especially when he waited for her to come and say, "You're not keeping a good eye on her, so we will keeping an eye on her now from now on." And so
so
and
she saw him directly.
she saw him just like I did. And so and I still remember this beautiful light, and this in a physical form. He was a man that was absolutely stunning, okay, all dressed in white. And those are memories that are leaving an imprint on you when you are such a young child, okay. And
Yeah.
so when I was 6, I will talk to spirits, and they will tell me how a person will die. Okay, so I will walk around, or people will come to my parents' home, and I was like, "Oh, I know this person is going to die." And so, and so, um, there are instances where I told my parents, I don't know the person's name. I can see what's happening. And my parents were like, "We don't speak like that. Don't
Right.
speak like that." And then, of course, I was proven right in the following 48 hours. And so then I'm a child, and I'm seeing how people are going to die. And
Mm.
I said, "This is not what I want. I want to see cuteness. I want to see cute things. I'm a child. I don't want to see people dying." Okay. And so that, thank goodness for that. That is no longer something that I see or do. And that's fine with me. That's a things left for me that I didn't want. I didn't want that.
So, many people that have come on this show over the years kind of have the same template, I guess. And they're born with, a certain sensitivity and awareness, maybe not as in depth as yours, but in some cases. And then at some point, their parents tell them, You don't talk about that. Your imaginary friends aren't real, whatever. And then sometime in late teens or early 20s, they get married, they have kids, they have a job, and they forget or they enter the matrix or whatever you want to say. And then at some point, there seems to be some consistency between people having going through a bunch of traumas. And then all of a sudden, and many of these happened around 2011, 2012, but some happened much earlier, some happened a few years ago, and then they come back into their awareness with a purpose and they proceed from there. Does that sound similar to your story?
So it's very similar. So when I was 8, I healed myself. When I was 12, I was sitting at my paternal grandmother, and I was outside in the garden, and I was on a swing reading a book. Okay, so a kid who loved to read, that was me. And my cousins, they were fixing the roof, so there was a scaffold onto the property. So my cousins, that were boys, they were climbing the scaffold, and then I had the vision that the scaffold was going to fall. Okay, and I was like, this you should just jump and whatever. You should not do that. And they were boys. They didn't listen to me. I was reading a book. What do I know? And then I heard a voice, a loud voice that said, Muriel, move now. Okay. And I moved the swing backward, still reading my book, and the scaffold came crashing where my swing was. Okay. And all the adults came out rushing because the scaffold fell. My cousin had jumped off. And they were like, Muriel, you're okay. And I'm like, yeah, you told me to move. And they were like, no, we didn't tell you to move. Nobody told you to move. And so throughout my life, I have stuff like that. But yes, I did get married. I did have kids, and I had vision premonition, and I was doing reading for people and giving them messages here, there, whatsoever. Still volunteering for different charity, and still trying to be helping others that needed it. And then I got married. I got the kids. And then I divorced my ex-husband, the father of my children. And that went into a journey of hardship, extreme hardship, because I was a single mom with 3 kids. I got involved into a gentleman that was very abusive physically toward me. So I had to escape. And so that was very traumatic as well. So, and then all suddenly, I had, I think it was actually 2012 or 2011. I had a massive migraine that took me out for 3 days, and I don't get migraine, okay? And so I had to be in complete darkness for 3 days, okay? I could not eat, I could not drink. And what I was getting extreme messages at a fast speed. And when I realized I was getting what you call download, I asked the creator to slow down because they were too fast for me to process. And that's why I was having massive migraine, that I could not process the speed of the download I was getting. And that was in 2012. And so I became a certified Reiki master. And my first instructor, when I went to get Reiki level 1, she was a wonderful psychic medium certified master. And I went to do the lesson. And she decided after a couple of hours to have a client of hers coming and for me to practice on this person. And so she said, the Muriel, this is just practice. You don't know her. And just go with the flow. And so this lady is laying on the table, and suddenly I'm moving my hand and I'm getting all kind of information, and I'm telling her, you had injury when you were 2, this, and I was doing all kind of stuff. And my instructor was like, yeah, I have nothing to teach you. You already know it all. And that must be past life. And so this is something that just happened. And so I I was like, oh, I'm in the right direction. So I become Reiki 1, Reiki 2, then a master. And then, of course, after that, I started to do an offering a free worldwide healing. And I used to have anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 people signing up on Facebook and I stopped doing that. I no longer do that until I was wide open, giving healing from around the world to wherever was needed for free until someone with evil intent came in, called me all kind of name on this Facebook. She disrupted 5,000 people to get a healing. And so that shook me. And when I was shaken, I could not give the proper healing. So I had to stop this healing that I was giving for free worldwide. And after that, I realized this is not the way I'm supposed to gift people of my services. I need to do it in a different way. And so I started to charge people. And first it was donation, and then it was in a place I found in Connecticut. And then, as the year went on, if you don't have any money, I don't charge you. If you have money, I charge you. If you want to donate, you donate. I can, and then if you have extra money, you can pay it forward. So it's not, to me, it's not about the money. It's about an exchange of energy, an exchange of services.
Mm.
And so I am helping. I'm still doing a lot of free healing worldwide. Wherever I go, people seem to find me, even if they don't know me. I was in Spain last week, and I was minding my own business. I'm drinking a little coffee, a little croissant at my door. Please picture that.
A
And
croissant, a croissant. I had to say that word, croissant.
and two gentlemen who were from UK sat next to the table, and one of the guy was like, "Oh, look, it's Cruella de Vil," because I didn't color my hair, and I started to laugh, and then he felt so embarrassed. He was like, "Come over." So I came over, and then a bunch of his friends came over. So I posted a picture on Facebook. So it's me with seven gentlemen, and as we're speaking, I tell some of the guys said, "Hey, your friend here is going to need help in a few minutes." And literally a few minutes later, one of the guys started to cry. And I stood up and tell him, "Hey, we're going to go under this giant tree. I'm going to give you a healing." And so I did a healing right there and for free under a massive tree in Spain. And his friends, when I was done, were like, that was amazing. So I am called to go to places, and when people need me, I'm there. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, you owe me money." I just do it for free, and that's the beauty of it. It's absolutely beautiful to be able to do that.
I remember when you were doing those worldwide healings. That was after 2012. I came online 2012, but
Yeah.
I really started to meet people in the summer of 2013 is when it
Mm-hmm.
was. And I remember seeing you in like 2013, 2014, and you were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. So you're just called to different places, and when you show up in those places, people are attracted to you, and you're doing healings. Are you also doing grid work when you travel? Do you feel like?
Yes, so I do a lot of grid work. So I'm going to tell you guys, I mean, you guys, it's you and your audience. I'm going to tell you a story, which is true again. So I was requested to go to India as a master healer, master teacher to teach in India for a week. And that should happen in 2020. Okay. So in 2019, I say yes. And the guys start to talk about the program. And my spiritual team comes in and say, "You are not going to India." And I said, "I guess I'm not going to India." So I said, "Okay, I don't go to India." So I cancel, not knowing. I said, "I'm not going to India." And the guy who was organizing the event was like, "Why?" I said, "I don't know. I'm being told I should not go to India in those dates, which was April 2020." And I said, "I'm not coming. I'm sorry." And then for the following week, I'm getting massive vision, massive dreams about Egypt. And Egypt was one of the places I have always wanted to go since I was a child. When I was younger, up until the age of 9, I could actually read the hieroglyph and stuff like that without any training. And so my guys are like, "You need to go to Egypt." And I'm like, "What?" And so I kind of stubborn a little bit. So I said, you want me to go to Egypt? You make it happen. Okay. You make it happen, because I don't know why you want me to go to Egypt. And so some of my clients came back and say, hey, Muriel, how you doing? And I said, I don't know. My team wants me to go to Egypt. They were like, oh, that's fine. And the next thing I know, one of my clients offered me the trip to go to Egypt. Okay.
Mm.
So he paid for my trip, he paid for my flight, he paid for me my hotel, he paid for everything. And I was so surprised. So he of course joined into the trip. And so he's a beautiful soul. And so we are in Egypt, and I am called to activate the grid. I am touching certain hieroglyph into the temples and into the pyramid and mostly the temples. And my guide was like, "You're not supposed to touch. You're not supposed to take picture. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that." And I was like, "Please, I have work to do. I don't have time for this." Okay. And then we were in the old museum of Cairo, and they go and indoctrinate you with the history lies that we have been told. And I told the guy from the museum, I said, please don't insult my intelligence. I don't want to hear it. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Now, as I was in the Museum of Cairo, those artifacts, a lot of them carry an energy. They are alive artifacts. They are alive and they carry messages. So I was getting into the museum and getting all kind of messages. Now, when I was in Egypt, I went into the king chamber and I actually lay down into the king's sarcophagus for 45 minutes, which is absolutely forbidden to do that. And I was in meditation. And then I stepped out of the sarcophagus and started to sing as a frequency of the home sound in a certain spot inside the pyramid. And that was January 2020. April 2020, all the border closed due to COVID. If I had been in India, I would not have been able to come back for over a year and a half. And so my spiritual team intervened to redirect me to go to Egypt.
Wow.
After that trip to Egypt, to this day, which has been now 5 years, I have received massive download. There are all kinds of things that happened during that trip. Um, and I have picture to prove it too. The download I have received, some of them I'm still bringing it into the flow. I created a mandala book, a sacred geometry for transformation and healings that came directly from all the experience I had in Egypt. I created a positive oracle deck based only on sacred geometry. And, I have it here as well. So that deck is attuned to the person who is going to buy it. So in another word, you follow the instructions that I created in it, and it will be attuned to the person, energy, and whatever they need. The card will help them. Okay. So that's one of the things that I have done since my trip. It was a massive, massive awakening.
Sounds like it. Sounds like you had quite a few of them. Do you have,
Uh,
I
Quite a
mean,
few.
there's so much to speak of here. You talk about the angelic and the archangelic connection. You talk about your team. You have this connection to Egypt. You have this connection to sacred healing, reading hieroglyphs. Do you have any idea, or it doesn't even matter really, but I'm just curious, do you have any idea of your lineage, of
I
your
do.
previous incarnations?
I do, and this is very interesting that you ask that because when I was in Egypt, the Egyptian people recognize me. And what I mean, they recognize my essence. So when I was, for example, in the Valley of the King, you can only see certain tomb, and I was wandering around looking up to the mountain and stuff. And there was a tomb that was, closed. And there are guard, okay? People don't realize Egypt has armed guard and checkpoint every few miles, okay? So there was a guard at the entrance of that tomb, and it was closed to the public. And he looked at me and he said, "You cannot be close to this monument here." And I said, "I'm just looking at the mountain and taking picture." And then he looked at me and he said, "You have returned." And I said, "Yes, I have returned." And he was like, "Oh, you have returned." And I said, "Yes. And you need to open. I want to see what's in there." And he said, "I will only open this tomb if you allow me to take a picture with you." So he opened a specific tomb that was closed to the public for me to go in there. And it was phenomenal. Now, we also went into the temple of Sekhmet. I was also close to the public. They opened it up for me. Something happened in that temple. Again, I have the picture. And so in ancient time, my face is carved on some of the temple wall, on some of the temple, not all of them. And so
Does the face that's carved onto the temples, does it resemble your face in this incarnation, or was it your
it,
face
it
from that?
does, it does. And this is something that people needs to know. When I was younger, um, my ears were kind of ripped apart because I was run over by a motorcycle. So my ears were reattached, but they were a little bit larger. And so my face, without my glasses, my face now look on some of the temple. And so everywhere I went in Egypt, the Egyptian people, men and women, were extraordinary. They were so of service to me, and they just were so sweet. And this is something that people don't realize how much giving Egyptian people are. And I made friends over there. And funny story, I mean, to me, I consider this a blessing, and I want you to picture it. Okay, I am 5'3", and I went into this shop in Egypt, and this big, to look and buy a souvenir. And this big stone cutter who was 6'4", he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I don't think you want anything from here. Do you want to come in the back of the room with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let me come into the back of the room." And then he closed the door, and I was like, "Uh-oh."
Oh, you're about to have a date.
And so, and so then he looked at me and he said, "I need you to activate me." And I'm like, "I didn't even know you knew those words." And so I held his hand in the closed little, 3 by 3 in the back of a room with a 6'4" guy. I held his hand for 3 minutes. And then when I released his hand, he started to cry. He gave me a hug. And he was like, you can never leave Egypt. You stay with me." I said, "I have to go back to the US." And
He must have been an Egyptian lover from a past life.
oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. And at the end, I encounter this kind of recognition, this kind of asking from the Egyptian people, men and women, mostly the men. But the hotel I was staying at, I was giving a tip to the lady who was making me coffee every morning. Okay, and at the end of my trip, I think it was 3 or 4 days, in order to say thank you to me, she had knitted me a scarf and gave me some earrings she made herself. And I was like, my tip was maybe the equivalent of $12. And I'm like, "You don't have to do that." And she was like, "You don't know what this little money you gave me is doing for me. You're giving me food for 2 weeks."
Wow.
And so little bit like that you do with that thinking. And then I come back to the US, I go to Starbucks, and nobody's knitting me a scarf or giving me earrings, so completely different.
Wow. So let me ask you, God, this is amazing. Uh, Now, in terms of your connections,
Mm-hmm.
your aspects, or however you look at that,
Mm-hmm.
is there any galactic connections? Do you get any transmissions from the galactic part of the universal family?
I do get a connection to Orion and the good side, because every galactic species has good and bad. It's not all good or all bad, just like here.
Right.
I do get connection with Orion, and I do get connection with the Arcturian as well. And so, when I get information, I either hear it, see it, feel it. It
Right.
depends who is
Right.
the person who is, not the person who is a spiritual team who is coming in. And when I do healing or when I do readings or when I do a coaching, whatever the person needs, if I tune in, because I don't tune in all the time, then the person is going to receive it. And so, with so many years of practice, now I give the person who is, booking a healing or booking a session with me, I give them the tool to help themselves. So, in another word, I'm just a facilitator, if you prefer,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I want that when you are not with me in a session, that you are able to do it yourself.
Which is ultimately that's the way it works for everybody. That's where we're headed. Yeah. And that's
Exactly.
yeah.
And so when I do that, people are like, oh, and then they're like, but I cannot do that. I'm like, yes, you can. Okay. And so I guide them and they're totally amazed that they can actually do it. I'm just guiding them and they can actually do it. So I'm considering myself a facilitator, a connector. I mean, even so, I'm a master healer because the goal is to empower people. It's not to be uh, saying, it's me, me, me. No, the goal
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
we are all connected. We are all from the same source. We are all soul. We are all one, and that's true. So therefore, we can send healing around the world. Everybody
Yeah.
can receive it. Everybody has a power to heal themselves. Everybody has a power to have vision, to have intuition, to be connected to the divine or the galactic, or all of the above, if they are open to it. And
Mm,
most of the time, the people are afraid.
yeah.
They don't have the faith with a capital F. They think if you do this or if you do that, or it's programming, it's a
Yeah.
metric.
Yeah.
And when I am of service to the world, I have people who are from different religious background. I have people who are from different economic background, and I serve them the same way, regardless of what they look like, their preferences, their economic background, or their religious belief. Because at the end, it's the energy and the intent that matters. It's your
Yeah.
heart that
Yeah.
matters, not
That's right.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Definitely. And um, it feels like that this information or awareness um, is really taking hold now, even though you
Yes.
don't hear about it. Maybe on a show like this, and even that's very rare, I think, to actually have people talking about it from a personal experience where they're not trying to promote themselves or something with an agenda or a disclosure topic or a
Mhm.
sensational topic of the Galactic Federation or whatever. What I feel like that what you're representing is what we're all coming into, which is we are soul, we are the power. This is all accessible to us. And the only reason that we've not been able to do it is because of the conditioning we forgot. But now we're starting to remember, and it's building very fast. I would like to know how do you, after all these years of being tuned in and all the experiences you've had, what is your take on what's going on now, really going on now? Not what's going on with the movie script of the world and the governments and all that, but what's actually happening in your opinion? And there's no right or wrong. I'm just curious with your wealth of experience and connectivity.
So I have, so I usually, I started to speak in code or give messages in code, even so it's in plain English language for all entertainment purposes. Because when I was speaking up during the COVID time, my YouTube channel was completely deleted. Okay, and Facebook started to target me, and I told them, hey, stop it. So so now I find a different way to deliver a message, and the people who are in tune captures a message or whatever the intention is behind. But for all appearances, la 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 la. Okay, so but anyway, what what's happening right now that most people don't seem to realize is that regardless, and I do not watch the news. I'm not watching any of that stuff. I'm talking about an energetic level around the world. Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the news and the media and all that stuff. So what's happening right now is that what we call the awakening, the evolution of consciousness, the evolution of remembering who we are at our core, and that we are all powerful and not powerless. So at
Mm.
the end, there is, if you wish, a battle between what you will consider good or bad, okay? And those are bipolar, I mean, not bipolar, but they are duality because on this planet right now, we are in a duality. And so what you see or what you perceive is just a show. It's an acting show because when the people are distracted by the circus of the media, by the circus of the TV, by shooting, by war, by starvation, by whatever, by disease, then they're starting to live in fear. And when they live in fear, they're even afraid to step out of their house, okay? When they live in fear, then they're feeding into a negative energy, which feeds into negative entities, which is how they power themselves up,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And that can also happen into concert, into sports event, because
Yes.
it's an harvesting of the energy of the people. If you don't pay attention to any of that, and you have found your inner peace, your inner compass,
Yeah.
and yes, it's difficult at time. Okay, I'm here to say that. Even me, at time, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, but
Well, we're still subject to the human condition, as my friend Earl used to say.
exactly. And you should see me here driving in Florida when someone cut me off in front of my car. I'm not blessing that person. Okay. I'm like, well, yeah, okay. So all I'm trying to say is
You're
I'm
here.
just,
Well, that's yeah. What you just stated. I think most everybody here we feel the same. I feel like that what the question is, or where the mystery is, or where the beauty is, or the new creation is and are, is what is the relationship, in your opinion, between this evolution of consciousness as it relates to this physical incarnation that we're in?
yes.
Is it
So
is it something that is it are we going to realize the potential of our power uh, in a physical, creative kind of atmosphere? You know what I mean? Or is
I
it
do.
going to continue to be in the etheric field in other dimensions?
No. So right now, what they call manifestation with the law of attraction. So I'm specialized in the 12 universal laws, but the we are manifesting much faster as individual and as a collective.
Mm,
And so we are what we see, what we eat, what we watch, what we hear, whether we're listening to songs, to movie, to whatever, we are putting that in our mind. The main issue here is that people in general have egos. And so as we are understanding and remembering that we are powerful, you can see some people who are going to try to steal from the matrix, just to be like, this is mine, this is mine. Okay. And that's the main issue. Instead of co-creating, it can be a battle
yeah,
in that way if you wish. But
yeah.
it is manifesting right now into the physical form. And I'm going to be very specific now. I'm going to be very, very specific. By the end of 2025, okay, by the end of December of 2025, the vibration of the planet will be split completely in two. Okay, I'm talking about the energy and the frequency. People have a choice, regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of where they are in the world, regardless of their socioeconomic. They have a choice. And the choice is simple. Do you want to continue to live in what you have been living with the lies, with the illusion of comfort, with more consumption and so forth, so on, and you want to act that way, which is what we call the 3D, the three-dimension world, and where if that's what you choose, good luck to you because it's going to be hell, okay? And hell, I'm not talking about the Bible hell. I'm talking, and it's going to be hell, okay? And so, um, which means it's going to be very difficult. If the person is choosing to be aware and to be conscious and to kind of pay attention and to realize this is not what they want anymore, and they want to embark on this new journey, this new adventure, if you wish, then they can choose to step into the 5D, which is a five dimension. Now, the misconception into the spiritual community is that if you're in 5D, you don't have to worry about a jack. Okay, no, 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 no. You still have some programming of the matrix that you
Mm,
have to let go.
yeah.
It's still an evolution. You're still at the beginning of that evolution to 5D. Now, if you choose to go into this 5D, obviously it will be better than the other one, but it's still going to require for each individual and the collective to unify themselves
Yeah.
and to unite for the greatest good of the golden age, if you wish, of the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Now, as we do that, as we choose a 5D, our DNA is changing and
Right.
going to continue to change and to evolve. Okay. So we are going to be de-aging. Okay, we're going to be de-aging.
I
We're
agree. 100%. Yeah.
without any machine or anything like that.
Yeah.
We are going to have some transparency into our body.
Yeah.
There are some pictures of me where you can actually see that, where a part of my body is becoming transparent. It's not a filter or a trick of AI, so you can actually see it. Now, I have been interviewed quite a bit in the last 2 years, and every time my vibration shift to a higher level, they're having a difficulty with the sound. Okay, they're like, we cannot hear you. You come from a tunnel. I'm like, yes, it's because I'm over there. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is we all have free will. We all have a choice to make. Now, the next question you might be wanting to ask, maybe, what happened after December 2025?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I love the way you explain everything. It's like all the shows this year where people are talking about what they're receiving. You're kind of putting it all in one story, and it's perfect. And you're right. That is kind of the question. So that's why my question was, what's the relationship between that and our physical experience after 2025? But at the same time, yeah, I think that's the big question, because you remember 4 or 5 years ago, people were talking about there's going to be two Earths, there's going to be three Earths, there's going to be four Earths, and people thought, oh, okay, I'm going to go this one, I'm going to go that one. No, but it's all happening right here. So it's like the two worlds will live side by side,
Correct.
uh, in the fractals of the universal that we are, basically.
That is correct. And so, and that's what I'm saying. There is a lot of garbage out there in the spiritual community, and some of the influencers trying to be, hey, look at me, look at me. So
Well, I mean,
I'm
I
very
think I,
close.
I think that's what one of the things that's really showed up this year. Now, my guides told me that the solstice in 20 December of 2012, that when the Mayan calendar thing started, right? That
Yep.
it ended in December of 2024 solstice. That was a 12-year period. And
Mm-hmm.
they said coming out of that into 2025, everything's different. In other
Correct.
words, for those that are on the same path that we're on and those that will come on it, as we start to have that pure intention and integrity and in unity in our thoughts, words, and actions, that the universal energy is going to meet us, and that instant manifestation that you talked about, that like begets like, is going to show itself. And I'm seeing this happen now, and I know I can't be the only one. But what I was going to say is that, yeah, what does that look like? Does that mean that in each instance of our experience and our thoughts and our words and our actions, that we're to take into account the 3D, you might say, the 3D, that side of the split? Are we to take that into account in all our decisions? Are we to not look at it anymore because it'll fade away from our existence? Something like that?
And that is a question that a lot of people are asking me. And the main question they're asking me is the following. I have a loved one. I have a partner. I have a husband. I have a wife. I have kids. I have uncles. What's going to happen to my family if I go into, let's say, the higher consciousness versus staying in the matrix? And here is the thing. I'm seeing it in my own family right now happening. I have three adult children, okay, age 32, 31, and 26, two girls and a boy. And I have had friends, just like everybody else, but the universe, if you wish, or the creator, or however you want to label it, I like to say the universe is starting to remove people from my life, including arguing or anything like that.
No.
It has to do with their soul is not ready to evolve yet, and they might evolve by the end of the year. This year of 2025 is the year of transition for
Yes.
everybody. Okay,
Yes.
so the people, even family members, who cannot come into this new energy, this new frequency, then they still have to go through the 3D, okay? And their experience is going to be different than ours.
Yeah.
Now, I have been, and I see it every day. I have gone places. I was in Portugal in January with one of my daughter. And so the experience we have is completely different. Okay. When I was in Egypt, the experience I had was completely different than the person who was with me. And
Isn't that
so
amazing? Isn't that amazing? That, I
it
mean,
is.
that's really what's happening. That's really
Yes.
what's would you
And
say,
and what
that, go, I'm sorry, go ahead. There was a
no, no
lag.
go. And what I'm so sorry. What I was going to say, I'm going to give an example. During COVID, I refused to wear a mask. I did not wear a mask. Okay. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And so my kids were like, no, no, we need to. I'm like, no, we do not. Okay. And then I started to be so into my goddess energy, if you wish. So I went to eat out with my kids, and everybody's wearing a mask, including my kids, except me. And the lady looked at me and said, you need to wear a mask. And all I said was, I have an attorney on the line. Is that what you want to address? And she looked at me and she was like, that's fine. And then we sit down and I tell my kids, you are smart. You are smart. Do you think this virus know if you are sitting down or if you are standing up or if you are 6 feet apart or if you have your mask on or not? What is this garbage? Okay. And then my kids started to realize, oh, mom is right. Okay. So we are in 2025. I
Yeah.
still see people walking with a mask to this
I
day.
see people driving down the road in their car with a mask.
Exactly. And
I even saw a guy riding a motorcycle with a mask.
exactly. And I'm thinking, have
I'm
you
not
lost
making
your
fun of these
mind?
people. I just want to say I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying it's
It's a
interesting.
programming. It's a
Yeah.
programming. And so they got so scared. God bless their heart. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is people, there are certain people who cannot
Do-
come into the frequency we're
right.
going to
Of
go
course. Do
because
you Yeah, of
the,
course.
the frequency we're going to is a frequency of love, of helping each other, of
Hmm.
trading, of bartering, and so it's no longer this competition. This is no longer about
Right.
I'm making more money than you. I have
Right.
more Botox than you. My nails are better than you. My hair is better than you. Okay,
Uh,
this is totally
I mean,
programming of the
I mean,
matrix.
really, the reality is because I think many of us have had experiences in other dimensions, 5 dimension, six
Mhm.
dimension, whatever, and there is no ownership. There is no such word as healing. There's no such thing as forgiveness because there's nothing to forgive. There's just this other, and so we have to be headed that direction. That's why I was saying, how's this going to look like in the physical? But I think that you're on the you're. It's basically the same equation as the universal law, which is
Mhm.
one of the universal law, which would be like is attracted to like. So if we
Mhm.
have family members who, from a soul level, uh, because based on their human experience, they're not ready to move to 5D. They're going to uh, gather with those that are in the same frequency, and as we do, learn as a group, share information, and start to wake up together, maybe like a small section. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so I'm just curious. To me, it feels like what's going to happen is the world is going to start to notice there are people that are getting younger. There are people that are not sick. There are people that are living in harmony and unity, and there's no fighting and corruption and competition and comparison. And there's strong, pure connections occurring where two or more gather. It feels like that's kind of what we're moving into, and that the world will begin to notice and that those forces that are in 3D that seem to have the power and the military and this and that, they can't touch us because of our
That
frequencies.
that is correct. And I'm going to kind of share a funny story. I went to a conference in West Palm Beach, which was 10 magnificent speakers. There was Greg Braden and there was Dr. Lipton and so forth, so on. And they talk about epigenetics and
Mm,
genetics and gene and the power of the thought and everything. It was absolutely an amazing 4 day conference.
mm,
There were vendors that were selling, little stuff before you enter the room where they were going to speak. And I saw, and I'm going to show it to you guys, and it's on Facebook as well. I have a picture of that. I saw this crystal crown that called my name, and I decided I was going to buy it. Okay. Now, before I bought it, I asked permission to try it on. Okay. And I went to go get it. So
oh,
this
wow.
is this is a crown. It's all in crystal.
Wow.
And I think I'm going to remove the background so people can actually see what I'm talking about. And
This
okay,
is,
so
this is,
it
this is
is a
very,
crown. Okay. Are you
oh,
there?
uh, yeah, something happened.
Yeah, something happened, as you can
What
see.
the hell? Oh, wait a minute. No, you disappeared. I thought it
And
was
that's
me.
what I'm saying. I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay, hang on. Let me help you out here. Wait, what is going?
That's so
See,
funny.
this happens on the show when the frequency gets high. There you are.
Area.
I got to tell you, when you're done, I got to tell you something that happened to me last night in my lucid dreams that has to do with this crown. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm putting this crown on to try it on. And as I'm trying it on, people passed by and said, "Oh my God, you got to buy it." Okay, so I said, "Well, that was my intention." So I buy it. Okay, and people, men and women, I mean, there were 3,000 people at the conference. Men and women are actually coming to me and saying, "Oh my goodness, you you look so nice, and oh, this is so much fun. Please wear it for the duration of the conference." And he made the people so happy to see me wearing this. And then some of the lady got a little bit jealous and they were like, it should have been mine. And I'm like, then you should have bought it. Okay. I mean, you had the opportunity, just like me. So anyway, because people asked me to wear it during the conference, I wore it for 4 days, all day to the conference. Okay. And everybody who saw me started to smile. They were uplifted. They were happy. And of course, I took a picture with Greg Braden, and he was like, oh, nice crown. And of course, he was a geologist, so he loved that crown. But at the end of the day, just simple act of doing something like that,
Mm.
I gave joy to the people who were truly wanted to feel in a different way, to feel happy, and that was just a simple thing. But things like that are not coincidence because there was only one like this,
Right.
and when I wear it, you can see all kind of energy coming from it and around it, and so forth, so on. And then after that, it was like I was giving permission to other people to buy a crown. So a lot of people went and bought a crown. Now, the funny thing is, some men were there, of course, and they were like, oh, you look so cute. And I'm like, you want to wear it? And they were putting it on too. Okay, so we were having some fun. We were just stranger connecting with the frequency and with the energy.
It's the innocent power of the soul.
Yes,
It's the innocent. So, okay, I got to tell you this, and then I have another line of questions for you.
sure.
Um, I hope I don't forget. But so I have very intense lucid dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and um, the last 2 nights have been the most like dream state has been very depleting. I don't mean in a bad way, but I can tell I've
Mm-hmm.
been very busy in the etheric field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So last night I had this dream, this succession of dreams, and it started with uh, almost like the beginning, or let's say go back 12,000 years, like right around the flood, when everything changed and the duality became what it became.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a dream where we were in there and we got tricked. And we got tricked. And I kept saying in the dream, because I don't usually get upset in my dreams, it's because I know I'm in a dream. And I said, you didn't tell, I didn't agree to this. You lied to us. I didn't agree to this. And then I went through the whole human evolution. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
war. There was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of death. There was a lot of symbology of
Mm-hmm.
fear. And you know what I mean? But at the very end, because most of the dream was very intense, and I'm like, man, what is going on? I need to shift this. But obviously, I was releasing something or something was happening. And at the very end, they brought me this thing. It didn't look like a crown, but it was just like this 2 hands full of crystals standing straight up. So now I just have to say that had something to do with you or us. Yes, like that, like that. And so when I saw that, I thought, oh my God, that there it is right there. So, my question is for you too, because as time has gone on, to me, the most important information that we're getting is what we're getting now at our level of awareness, which is expanding, which is really the composition or the totality of all the aspects that we've embodied, the things that we've remembered in each other and activated in each other, so that what we're speaking, like what you're doing right now, seems to carry the newest code, the newest information, and with that, wisdom, power, love, courage, strength, grace, and so on. And I guess where I'm going with this is I'm wondering again, like what do you feel like is happening right now? Because this summer has been tremendously transformational. Many people have been isolated. Relationships have been disconnected. There's been a physical separation and division, but there also seems to be this expanding presence of the individual soul and our communion and cooperation with each other and recognition of each other. Has it been a hot summer? Has there been a lot of self introspection for people in your experience?
So, so first of all, there are a lot of astrological sign, and I'm talking astrology from the planets and from the moon and from the sun and so forth. And so the months of August and September has been kind of like a focal point for the planet. More coming, but the experience is that I have seen is people are responding differently. Now, when I go in anywhere, when I go into a store, when I go anywhere, whether it's kid or adult, people are so nice to me, okay? So nice, so friendly, so happy. Everybody talks to me. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting so many people talking to me. I must be popular, okay? Now, it's because they are attracted to the emanation of the energy that I'm carrying. Okay. And so automatically they're going into what their soul is because the soul is pure bliss. Okay. So they go back into the loving, caring that they are because as a core, we all are, except maybe a few exceptions. And so they go like that. Now, when you embody yourself as a divine masculine or as a divine feminine, and you truly embody this energy and the dualities that come with it, because we still have this physical body, you give, by giving yourself this power, you give the power to others to do the same.
Hmm.
And even so, you might not speak in terms of spirituality or religious belief or whatever it is, people just feel it at their core. And therefore, they're going to be hopefully going faster into their journeys as they choose to go. The, the changing that we're seeing is truly happening in the physical world because we are so powerful, we can create whatever we choose to create. And what are we choosing to do? What are we waiting for? Now, one more important thing that is very important. There are many of us around the world who are being called to relocate into a different part of the world because we need to be activating certain things. Like when
Yes.
I was in Egypt, I was called to go to Egypt to activate some airline. When I was in Portugal last year, the same thing. When I was in Greece last year, the same thing. When I was in Spain a week ago,
Hmm.
I received massive download from the trees that were around this little outdoor coffee place. And I posted a picture on Facebook about the trees. And so when I was near those giant trees, I was in such a bliss. I was just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Now, people around me were busying, talking on their phone, being on their computer, just, smoking, whatever. And for me, I was completely an observer and detached from all of that noise,
Hmm.
even though I was in a city. And I met people from England. I met people from Colombia. I do not speak Spanish. Everybody wanted to speak to me. Okay. And so everybody was like, well, but at the end of the day, we are being called to relocate. And
Yeah.
so we can relocate to a state within the US or Canada or Mexico or Europe or wherever, because we are being placed into strategic
Yeah.
line to give and stabilize the fifth D, 6D, 7D.
Yeah.
And as we do that, because not the one who hears a call, they still have a choice. And the choice is, should I pack and go, or should I stay and be, in my comfort zone?
Uh-huh.
And it is a choice. And so there are many who are called right now to relocate. Only few are going to do it because it takes a lot of commitment
Yeah.
to do that and to know that no matter where you are, the universe, your spiritual team has your back.
Yeah. I've seen people do it. I've seen it in my own experience. Um, it doesn't always make sense. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, it's almost like well, there's a grid, right, around the
Mm-hmm.
world. Let's just say the ley lines, and
Mm-hmm.
so on. And it's almost like, like we're crystals or tuning forks, and
Mm-hmm.
we're being placed in certain places, even if we're unconscious of it.
Mm-hmm.
The range or the degree of the effect we're having in our relationship with the grid, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels to me like that we've been being prepared like never before this summer, and
Yes.
it kind of lines up in my mind with what you're talking about, what occurs at the end of this year, especially as we get into the spring and into that March equinox.
Correct.
I mean, does that make sense? Do you feel like that we're being positioned so we can stabilize the grid because the switch is about to be flipped and that split's really going to happen?
It's already happening. And so when we are called to go to certain places, those places might have to do with some of our past lives that we have had.
Hmm.
Some might have to do with the soul mission we carry, and we all have a soul mission. We all are part of a bigger puzzle. We are little pieces of a larger, community puzzle. And so each one of us is called to do certain things. Now, I have learned that if where you're going, because let's say you choose a place, you have resistance, then maybe that's not the exact place, but maybe you need to move 50 miles out or 100 miles out, but it's in the area. And so at the end, the universe is going to step up if you are clear and you are aware of what you're doing. And when I'm looking around the world right now, I'm seeing a lot of people who are trying to come to terms with many lies as they have been programmed to believe, many things they are discovering. And some of the people in the world are not going to be able to handle it. And what I'm going to say next is going maybe to shock some people, and others are going to say, yeah, we can feel it. There are many people who are going to depart this planet
I
between
agree.
now and 2025 because they
Hang on. Wait.
should.
I totally agree with you, but I just want to make sure I got the dates. You feel that there's going to be many people that are leaving between now and the end of the year.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
Yes. So
Do you feel like a lot of people have already left, but they're just not
yes,
letting people know?
yes. And so you're starting to see with the stars, and the movie star and all that stuff, and billionaire and all that stuff. So you start to see not necessarily known, but some of the stuff. So there are a massive exodus who is going to happen between now and the end of this year, whether people are aware or not. And what I mean by massive exodus, we're not changing country. We are ascending to a different level in a different form. Okay. So, and that, if you wish, is a rebirth through death, physical death. Okay. Not spiritual death. So, the people who are going to leave are people who cannot handle what this truth, this lies, this everything. They cannot handle the energy, the influx of energy. They're not able to process it. So they are making a decision to step out of the train, if you wish, and go
Right.
on to a different train on a different platform because they can assist humanity much more from the other side of the veil than when they are in this physical body.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there will be more people who are going to depart. Now, usually the people who are going to depart could be a little bit older, but there are also younger people who are going to choose to depart. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not just older generation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm not here to, that's not the
No.
message. The message is the people who are choosing to do that, please be reassured that they will be so helpful where they're going. And it is a choice they are making at their soul level.
Yeah. I have a cousin who transitioned 11 years ago. We were the same age. We're 8 months apart. And he was beautiful. He's a beautiful soul. And I hadn't thought about him in a long time, but 3 or 4 nights ago in my dreams, he was there.
Yes.
And he basically was saying what he had said to me right after he transitioned. He actually didn't say it to me. He said it to his partner, and his partner told me about the dream that he had after he had transitioned. But what he was telling me a few days ago was that part of the reason that I transitioned was so I could help from the other side, so to speak. Okay, so
Correct.
now my question to you is when you, and it's become pretty obvious, like it is going to be a lot to be able to look at everything that we thought was real and it's not. So there's a lot of people that are gonna choose to take the path that you're talking about, and that makes sense. We have to respect that. My question is, do you feel that what they can't handle from a human perspective, from the conditioning, the programming, do you feel like that what they won't be able to handle is what they find out about themselves, what they have to admit to themselves about themselves, or is it the stuff out on the world stage, or is it both?
It is both. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so we were talking about what happened in 2020. Now, there are a lot of truth that is coming out more and more every day. Okay, the people who have follow every single rules and regulation because they were taught
Right.
this is for the greatest good of humanity. When they realize what has happened, they're going to question themselves. Why didn't see it? Why didn't listen? Why couldn't I see it when this person called? So they're going to question themselves and doubt themselves. That's the number one. But the number two is right now the world is looking or appearing like it's chaotic, and we have the brink of war, and we're not going to have water, and we have all the sign of revelation and all that stuff. And so everything needs to be looked from a different perspective. And so we are creating, we are manifesting. If we're programming people over and over and over and over to fear, we're going to have a nuclear war, then we are creating that reality as a collective. Okay, we don't need to create that. And
Right.
for me, I want to create beauty. I want to create, a more butterfly. I want to see the actual dragon, the real dragon.
Yes.
Okay, not the one that they make in the movie and hunt and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dragons that are actually carrying a genetic code and a
Yes.
DNA code that is tied to Gaia, and therefore they are a spiritual being that needs to be respected. I'm talking about those dragons.
Yes.
And so they should not be hunted. We have dragon lineage. We are chosen to speak in certain language and so forth. Those right now do not appear in the physical world because they are at a higher frequency, but they do exist. Now, this is not me dreaming and losing my
No,
marbles.
no, no.
This is true.
I totally get you, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to this, even because of the resonance of the frequencies of your truth, your resonance. Let me ask you this: it's been interesting watching the spiritual communities over the last 14 years, 13,
For
14 years,
sure.
and because many of the attributes and characteristics of society as a whole, we can see them playing out here with given some of the topics even recently, be it Donald Trump or be it COVID or be it Epstein or be it, the war, people choosing sides, and it just doesn't make sense. Now, my question goes to, oh, hang on, let me go back and grab it. It was a good one. Hang on. Um, oh no, I lost it. Oh no, no, I know what it was. I know what it was. In these, let's just say since 2012, but for most people, I know some are more than others. In this period of time that my team told me, that 12-year period, I was told that the things that we set out to do to start this awakening, each one of us, we did it. Even though it was very in a distortion, even though we doubted ourselves, we did it. And as we come into 2025, we're having to let go of things. We're having to let go of our attachment to past lives and our attachment to certain skills and abilities and our attachment to connections with galactics and because it's all in us now, right?
Correct.
So my question to you is, there's a big movement in regard to the galactic aspects. Let's put it that way. And the galactic aspects seem to be kind of in between in terms of there's a physical presence and there's not a physical presence. Like with the dragons, there's not a physical presence, but some of us have relationships with the dragons and we have encounters with the dragons. That's why I said many people understand what you're talking about. But my question goes to, do you feel that there will be a galactic intervention as some people are uh, talking about? They're commentating, they have narratives that this is what's going to happen and Ashtar Command's going to come. And I'm not making fun of anybody, I'm just trying to get an answer. Or do you believe it's actually going to happen right here? And that those things that those narratives offer are no different than the things we've had to leave behind, such as our traumas and those things that helped us to figure out who we were, but we realize I am God. You know, I am in the image of. Do you feel like that's a distraction? Those narratives about the Galactic Federation and the galactic aspects and family.
So yes. So here is what um, message I'm getting, image, and what I'm being shown is that we have been programmed in this lifetime and many past lifetime to believe in something external out of ourselves. So even so we can be more aware and more conscious and going into the 5D and leave a lot of things behind, we still carry some of those um, programming, some of those memory, and we can let go of a lot of things, but there are things that might be harder to let go. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. And so when we start to look at external power, whatever name we want to give them, then we are signaling that we are again not in power.
Yeah.
Okay. And here is the thing, the planet Earth was placed in a container or a containment for many millennia because of who was ruling this planet and is still ruling the planet. That containment, if you wish, has been lifted because humankind is evolving, and the Federation of Intervention and other beings around the universe can actually see that, and they already know that. They know who we are, etc., etc. So the way, and they have intervened in the last 45 years many times to prevent nuclear war and abolition of the planet. They have intervened, and there are actual documentation that have been released that are out there for people to read, whether it was the CIA or other government around the world who have released classified documents. So they have been intervention from the Galactic Federation and other, beings. So now that we are evolving, they still have, if you wish, a prime directive to relate to the Star Trek fan, which means they should not be intervening in that sense. They should only be coming in a way of equal partnership to be able to exchange things, okay? Because we, as a people who have chosen to incarnate on Earth, we had to go through the fire, so to speak, and the trauma, or traumas, plural, to
Mm,
get to where we are at now.
right.
So people in the Galactic Federation or higher dimensions, they didn't have to do that. Okay.
Right.
So in another word, the knowledge that we have gained as in the human species they don't necessarily have because they didn't experience it. So the message I'm getting is that the Galactic Federation and other spiritual beings, when they're going to be coming, they're coming for an exchange for the people who are prepared. They're not here to take control over a specific spot or to say, hey, I'm going to teach you this. No, this is not that I
And
suppose.
I think what you're saying too is they're not coming, or let's just say any of the
Mhm.
aspects of us are not coming to save us.
Correct.
They're coming to facilitate,
Correct.
just as you were talking about at the beginning of the show, as an individual facilitating other people, right?
Correct.
To find themselves. So it is a an equilibrium or a connection of equality. And
Exactly. And if you think about what I'm saying at a higher level of consciousness, for example, you and I, we have gone through the fires of this planet, okay, since we were born, and in different aspects, and those physical traumas, emotional trauma, spiritual trauma that we carry, we had a choice to make in our life, regardless of the age. We had a choice to say we are victim or we are warrior. And when we rose as warrior, okay, and we are like, we are not defined by our trauma, then we can discover ourselves. Now, when you are a higher being and you have not experienced the density of the earth, then the experience that we have encountered, they cannot really relate to it
yeah,
unless we exchange the knowledge.
yeah,
And we're like, oh, I didn't
mm,
know this. Oh, I didn't know that. So it's an exchange of knowledge.
yeah.
It's not about I'm going to save you with my ship and my
No.
laser beams and beam you up. Yes,
My
and
soul, my
leave me
soul,
alone.
my
You know.
soul, my soul told me a couple of years ago, and I think it coincides with that end of the 12 years. But what my soul said was, all this time you've been gaining information, all of you have been gaining information from these other aspects, be that the dragons, galactic elementals, etc. But now you're reaching a point because of your awareness that you're starting to realize your value, and it's an equal exchange now. They're learning from you
Mhm.
because you're the boots on the ground, and you have a universal coding that you have to be the boots on the ground in order to develop it and create it. This is new universal coding. So at the same time that we're having all of this propaganda and illusion and inversion and duality kind of coming to an end, but it's always darkest before the dawn, right? Uh,
Yeah.
we're having this new creative experience on a very special planet that's been universally seeded
Mhm.
more than any other planet. And
Mhm.
now we're providing new code through our experience and our gained awareness, and we're sharing that. And that to me is makes it legitimate because anything we receive that we can share immediately is real. You know, because I really see that too in the spiritual community. Oh, I do this, or I have this, I made this, you know, and there is no I here. Everything is everyone's. Nobody owns anything. We're all conduits for the universe, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for letting me say that.
No,
This has been
I agree with you 100%. And here is the thing. I post video of different things. So I post video of me, of my families, of me goofing around to show people that you can have your spirituality, your awakening, your awareness, but you can still enjoy this planet as
yeah.
a human vessel. Okay. Now, there are two things that I want to bring up to people's attention because it's very important at this time and age. I think it was in May. In May, I decided to go swim with a dolphin. Okay. And I went and swam with a dolphin. I received the most download for the 10 minutes interaction I had with that dolphin than I would have had if I didn't, if I would have had 4 years. Okay. Now, why I'm mentioning dolphin? Because just like the dragons, the dolphin carry a lineage and carry a certain anchor from different galactic species. And so when you are listening with your soul, your heart, and you're removing expectation and you're just being in the flow, you're going to get the message. Okay. Now, the other thing I did, I think a couple of weeks ago, and I posted also on a video, I recorded myself with my hand under a tree, and I asked a tree to kiss my hand. Okay.
I
So there
saw
was
that.
no
I
trick,
saw
you
that.
know,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
the tree came. You can see the tree caressing my face, okay, and kissing my hand. So I have done this experiment in Spain as well and everywhere. Guess what? It is not me
Yeah.
as me.
No.
Everyone who is listening to today to
Yeah.
you can do the same thing. What is going to allow you to do this? The first, you got to believe that animal and plants are sentient beings. They have a universal code into them, and they do respond to frequency, energy, and if you have good intention or not good intention.
Yeah.
So in another word, the dolphin, the tree, they just knew I was good, okay? In the sense of she's not going to cut my branches, she's not going to hunt me to food. She just want to be having joy.
Right.
So if you are bringing joy and love to what you're trying to do, you can talk to the tree, you can be kissed by a tree, you can be kissed by a dolphin, you can be kissed by a tiger. What I'm trying to say is that the whole planet is not just the human, the whole planet is evolving together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And the signs are there. The signs are absolutely there
Yeah.
everywhere. I have
Yeah.
animals following me. I have, hawk coming and following me.
It's just
You know,
not it's just not seeing yourself in another human being. It's seeing yourself in everything else, like
exactly,
one by one.
exactly.
I would love to do this again sometime. It's already been an hour and a half. I can't
Oh
believe
my
it's been an hour.
goodness, so much fun. Anytime.
It has been fun. Would you like to come back on?
Oh, sure, of course, anytime.
Okay. Okay. Well, just hang on a second because I've got another show and I want to just talk to you real quick. I'm going to
Sure.
turn the stream off, but before I do, I just want to let everybody know that if you go on to this video or onto the announcement and click Muriel's name, it's highlighted. It'll take you to her page. And can they find all your different work on your Facebook page? Like
They
your
can
what?
they can find me. I'm all over the social media. So I have a website that is called Muriel Expression. So they can see me in the news and everything else. But the best way is to DM me on social media. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. So people can DM me, they can find me. My books are out there as well. There are pictures on Instagram and there are pictures everywhere. If you're not sure, you can ask me. I have also murielblanc.com. So my books and my Oracle card are there. So I have written two books that are considered bestsellers. I'm a contributor on two others that are also bestseller. I'm working on my third one that is going to be, I believe, magical. I'm finishing the last touch. And so if everybody wants to just chat, I'm willing to chat. You can find me anywhere you want to.
Wow. That's an open invitation. And if you have trouble getting in touch with her, just message me on Facebook or on email and I'll connect you. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of hours when we come back for the next show. And until then, thank you again for everything. Blessings of peace.